Yeah, sure.
Because we can.
Sure.
Network not available.
Good evening. It is 6 o'clock. I'll give you about 10 seconds to kind of tie up everything for me having a little meal. All right, good evening. Tonight is our special Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. And I'd like to start off with 1.0 with the agenda items and 1.01 call to order. Next would be 1.02 declaration of a quorum.
I move to excuse Ms. Plimbach.
And Ricky Plimbott.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Lonis?
Yes.
Mr. Garden?
Yes.
Ms. Lever Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Belgrico?
Certainly.
And I vote yes. Motion carries. Moving on to 1.03, adoption of the agenda.
Move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Lonis?
Yes.
Mr. Garden?
Yes.
Ms. Lever Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Belgrico?
Yes.
So moved. Yes, me too. Motion carries. Let's move to 1.04, Husky Support Center update. I'd like to have Mr. Michael Smith, Director of Operations, who will provide an update of the progress of the Husky Support Center to the Board of Education.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dwight's going to join me just in case there's any questions that he might be helpful to answer as well. As you know, safe and well-maintained facilities help the district meet the mission and vision. And facilities should provide the best physical environment for learning to occur, and our schools should provide consistent and equitable environments. I'm going to update you tonight on the Husky Support Center and the progress that's going on there. As you know, at the time of bid, when I presented, we were still waiting from a cost from Missouri American Water. The base bid was $830,007. And then there's the list of all of the work that was going to happen and has been occurring since then. When the bid came in from Missouri American Water, it was $55,020. We did think that was quite high, and so I had several discussions with Missouri American Water, and there was nothing they could do to lower that cost. The main part of that cost comes from the size of the main that's in Midland and the special tap that they have to use to get our sprinkler system hooked to that main. If we had chosen to go off the main behind the building on Shelley, it would not have made a difference in the cost. There were several unforeseen conditions that came up as work progressed. Should be noted that these conditions, had we known them, these would have been included in the original bid had we known that they existed when we did the RFP for the work. There was a cable relocation and repair. Found that the hard way when they were doing some excavating and ran into a wire, and so they had to repair that wire and relocate that wire. Shortly after that, we found that there were power feed wires under the sidewalk that were broken, and it created an actual hazard with the breakers. So we had to repair those wires and replace the breakers because they were old, and so we had to install refurbished breakers in order to bring the building to code so that it would be safe. There was a door revision at the ramp entrance that we had to take care of. There was also soil remediation. If you remember, where the new parking lot, the new bus lot is, there was a big tree in that area. There was also a concrete slab. And because those things had been there for so long, the soil underneath the slab and where the tree was extremely soft. And so they had to do special soil remediation in order to make that soil, to bring it to the point where putting a parking lot on there where the parking lot would not eventually sink and cave. And then also we had to reroute the conduit that powers the front sign. We had to rerun that in order to make sure that it wasn't just out in the open and exposed. So the total change orders for unforeseen conditions came to $48,261. We also ran into a few situations where we had to make changes because we were told to do so by authorities having jurisdiction. So St. Louis County required us to replace the entire sidewalk in front of the Husky Support Center. We were planning on only replacing the areas that we had to remove in order to connect the water, connect power, but St. Louis County required us to replace the entire length of sidewalk. The fire marshal required us to install bollards around the fire hydrant, and we installed bollards in other places to, again, increase safety around the parking lot.
What's a bollard?
Those are the standards,
The steel stuff, so nobody.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then the fire marshal also had us revise some ductwork in the basement and install heaters in the stairwells. The reason for the heaters in the stairwells is so that because we installed the fire suppression systems, so that on cold winter days, the fire suppression would not freeze.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
on the sidewalk, did we beef up the concrete at the sidewalk where the buses coming in and out?
Actually, we did, Brad. We used, and I'll get to that in a second, we used a type of concrete that's called high early. And so that type of concrete sets faster and harder than normal concrete.
And we said replace all that sidewalk, and then in a year or two with our buses going over it daily would break that all out.
Yes.
Was it deeper, more than regular 4 inches?
I'm not sure if it was 4 or 6 inches.
I hope it was 6, because 4 is regular.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I don't know the answer to that question. We also requested a few changes in order to really just for convenience and for safety. We added weed barrier, limestone, and mulch on top of that high wall on the back side that was originally just going to be seeded in. And you can imagine with the fence going up there, the difficulty that would be to maintain. So we added the big limestone and also weed barrier in that, so we could eliminate the need, or at least significantly reduce the need for our lawn care company to have to do that. Therefore, we'll actually spend less on lawn care, and over time that's going to make a difference, and we'll make that back. We also chose to, for safety, to widen the northwest entrance. That's the entrance off of Shelley. It was really narrow, and if you ever went through there before it was widened, 2 cars really couldn't, one couldn't come in and one be exiting at the same time. So we widened that entrance so cars could come in and out at the same time if that happened. And also there will be the need from time to time for buses to come in through there, and that also widens that entrance for school buses. We chose to revise the ramp. Originally, we had a high wall with blocks, with the brick retaining wall. After rethinking that, we chose not to have that, but because of the revision, it actually was an increase. However, if that retaining wall had stayed there as originally designed, then people could actually be inside of that ramp pit, and you wouldn't be able to see down there. And so therefore it's right on Midland, and then as police go by, they'll be able to see directly down to our service doors at the bottom of that ramp.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about, right, where what shows on Midland.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep,
thank
yep.
you.
You're welcome. And then we also chose to install toggle switches to the gate, which would allow improved gate controls for the bus drivers and for our director of transportation. We also had the opportunity to rough in conduit for a card reader. If we ever choose in the future to add a card reader to the gates, where you could open it with your access card, now we won't have to dig up the entire asphalt. And so while the asphalt was out, we went ahead and ran the conduit just for future use if we choose to do that. It made sense at the time. The early strength concrete that I talked to you about just a second ago, Brad, was around $400. And then we actually were able to deduct the painting of the sprinkler pipe. We didn't realize at the beginning that they were going to paint our sprinkler pipes. You know, it's in a storage room, and they look just fine like they are, you know, black and red. But we chose to save the $2,800 and not paint those. So as far as district requested change orders, that came to $11,590. There were a few oversights by the civil engineer and architect. So the main bus entrance off of Midland, where the way it was originally designed, had to be changed. St. Louis County required a change to the gate and had us move it back away from Midland. When the civil engineer had did the revision for moving the gate back, did not realize at the time that that also had an effect on the swing of a bus as it comes into the parking lot. And so buses would actually not be able to make a right from Midland into the lot the way the gate was designed. And so that gate had to be widened from a 20-foot gate to a 24-inch gate, foot gate, and that changed because the gate had already been installed. The change came as a change order. They had to adjust the manhole that's on the side driveway. They had to replace that manhole, and when they did, it was actually a little bit too high, and therefore if cars would have driven over it, would have torn the bottom of the car off. So they had to make that adjustment. They added stairs and a walk gate to the new bus lot. The only way in and out of that new bus lot would have been through the gate, and therefore they would have had to have a working clicker. The electricity would have to be working. The reason that we chose to have a walk gate and that it should have been there in the first place is because in order for somebody to get out, the gate would have to be open. It's on an automatic close. And so somebody could get locked in potentially to that parking lot if they didn't have a working clicker. And so because I know it's a lot of what ifs, but if they did not have a working clicker, if the electricity was off, then they would have been trapped inside that fence.
We didn't have that, well,
There's a man gate on the main one, but we also didn't have that problem because drivers can go through the building. The new one is strictly all fence. There's no other way out of it.
And then the original RFP did not call for our smoke detectors in the basement to be remounted. And so for additional safety, we chose to have the smoke detectors remounted instead of removed. So we know it's sprinkled already, but now we also have smoke detectors, and we figured that would be safer for the building. And total change orders in that section are $21,472.
So the stairs and walk gate, is that it's just to get out of the parking lot and it's not locked or anything, it's just a gate that they can get in and out of?
But it is locked. So a part of that high cost was actually the latch, so because it has to be kind of where you can get out just by pushing,
Okay.
but get in
Can't
using
get
a
in.
key only.
You can't get in, is what you're saying?
You can get in, but you have to have a key,
Okay, gotcha.
right? Because we don't want anybody just being able to go in and out of that parking lot.
To get out, it's just a panic bar that you push.
Okay, gotcha. Where do the bus drivers park? Do they park on the lot?
Yeah.
They park on the main lot
Okay.
between the building and Shelley.
Yeah, okay.
So our base bid was $830,007. The unknown cost after the bid for the Missouri American water tap was $55,020. Unforeseen conditions, $48,261. Authorities having jurisdiction, $48,907. Our requests, $11,590, and oversight was $21,472. So the current total right now is $1,015,000. $1,015,257. But we also have not used our contingency of $37,500. And so that will be coming our way when the project is finished. That will be coming back. And so as of right now, the project is at $977,757.
Mike, can you talk about why a contingency is built into a project?
It really is for those unforeseen conditions. And so we can choose to use our contingency for some of those that we ran into, or hold on to it. And then we get that money back at the end, and it's just not, it's just taken off the baseline, the final number.
Are you saying that the 1 million, blah, 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 had the contingency built into it, and so it's only costing 977 if we pay all this, even though it adds up to 1,015?
Yes. So the base bid in 830,000, the architect put in the specifications to include a contingency of 37,500. So that is what it tries to do, is look at a worst case scenario. Now, on this size of project, he probably should have built in a larger contingency. But for instance, if you build a new school, contingencies are probably 5 to 10% of what you think the cost is going to be. So that's one way of doing it. Or if you were going to have large renovations, and actually renovations should probably have more of a contingency than a new building because it has more unforeseen conditions than it usually.
So the 830 is where the 37.5 is built in?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Oops. All right, so just a couple of pictures of what's going on and what has been completed. So if you've been by, you've noticed that the landscaping along Midland and along the what we would call the east fence, that has been completed. So the trees are installed, the mulch is installed along with the weed barrier. And of course, we were able to get our buses back on, which is a good thing. I get them off the high school lot. So, yeah. You can see that set of stairs and the gate that we installed on this picture in the upper left. And then you can see the new bus lot with the buses on it. And there's 2 of those bollards, and it was the day they were installing them. That's why they're leaning to the side. So,
They will be straight.
They're straight now. These are sound dampening panels that we installed to the walls of the building and to the walls of the bus lot. And I was talking to the neighbors the other day. They were out and we were just chatting, and they were talking about how wonderful already the sound has come down. And because we have the new lighting, the new LED lighting, how much they appreciate everything that we've done in order to reduce the light pollution and the noise pollution from that parking lot. And we have not installed the sound and light dampening panels for the fence yet. That's still coming. So you know that the sound and light is going to come down even more. And so, like I said, the neighbors are very, very happy with the progress.
That was going to be my number 1 question is, more importantly, how are the neighbors doing?
Yeah, they're terrific. But, they're out there having their coffee, just talking with the contractors. The contractor has a fantastic relationship with the neighbors. I mean, which is really great customer service. We believe he's always up there just talking to them and making sure that he's communicating what's going on. And once this is over, they might actually be good friends. So.
Is it the one that's directly next? Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Buggage is right next
Yes.
door. Yeah, and he could not be more happy.
Mike, on this wall right here, this retaining wall,
Yeah.
could we have that power washed or something? I mean, that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
Once,
Well,
remember, once we get the acoustic fence up and the trees and the bushes grow in a couple of years,
No, I mean the concrete itself.
I know. What I'm
Between
saying is most of the time the buses are there and the acoustic fence and the bushes, nobody will even see those walls, but we can look at it.
I think it looks worse in this picture, because I've driven by there and
Right.
it doesn't look as bad.
Well, and it looks worse now because the new sound dampening panels are new and they're a lighter color. But
Also, it's dark in this picture. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
sun
really
it
dark.
in this way.
And the fire suppression system, you can see how, they are black. That's why we chose not to repaint those. I mean, to save $2,800. And so the sprinkler system is all set. And again, we're just waiting for Missouri American Water to hook it all up.
This is the lower level.
This is the basement. Yeah, this is the lower level when we took you guys through. And so this entire area is going to be used for storage.
these are 2 separate rooms.
Correct.
If you'll remember, there's a much bigger room and that's on the right, and then the smaller room is on the left.
This is where they used to have their kitchen and fire.
In the bigger room on the right was where they
Yeah,
had the
correct.
kitchen, and you'll see that in a second.
Yeah, this next picture here, this one shows the ramp to the basement, the unfinished ramp and the doors, and that's the bottom picture is the inside of the door. That's where that kitchen used to be.
Right.
And we actually kept the cabinets, a lot of the cabinets and things in there just because we might need them. So there's a lot of progress going on. We still have some work to do. We're very happy with our contractor and the communication and how well they work with us. If you have any questions.
I'd just like for you to find out the depth of the concrete that was poured there.
Okay.
It all looks good. I mean, you drive by it, it looks good. I was saying, the times I drive by it, the buses aren't there. I go by it right after they leave in the morning and before they, and they're gone again when I come back in the afternoon.
So board members, we wanted to get this, status update to you, so there's work that's still going on. I'm planning with Mike and planning with Dwight and then the PTO group at the district level of what a grand opening is gonna look like. Here in the summer, and we still have programs in Summer Academy that are ongoing. but we know a lot of the community members might get away, and we don't have as much participation in the summer. So we're thinking about a grand opening for the Husky Support Center in conjunction with the Black and Orange event that is scheduled for right now the first Saturday in August. We've taken that approach before with Husky Academy, and so the district PTOs are looking at organizing some events to help celebrate the grand opening as well. So when we think about centralized storage, we are seeing increases in enrollment in our schools, and so as we're looking at the number of teaching sections, the number of class sections we're going to have next year, we were just talking with Dr. Stryker and Ms. McNulty at Kratz today, thinking through just how are we going to accommodate all these students at Kratz. And so our ability to take storage and to take materials out of buildings and try to recapture some additional space is going to be absolutely necessary. And when we think about the work of the food pantry, as I've shared, both my mother and my father are engaged in that. They're busy at the food pantry every week, serving large numbers of customers in the pantry. So looking forward to them starting to serve customers back in person again. And the last thing I'd like to share is there's conversations that are ongoing with CARE STL to move the Husky Health Center from Hayden Middle, which is going to need some additional classroom space, to move the Husky Health Center from Hayden Middle over into the Husky Support Center as early as this fall. So a whole lot of progress being made, and just very proud of the work that Mike and Dwight and his team is doing.
Yeah, it looks really good. I have a question though. You were saying that they're having the grand opening the same day as Black and Orange Day?
Yeah, so the committee around Black and Orange is just starting to come together. There's a lot of assumptions that are built around this, right? So the assumption is we're going to be at a positivity rate that makes it safe to be able to do that. So Black and Orange, the event is always up here in the lower lot.
Right.
The district PTOs are looking at a walk run, like a color run,
Oh,
that would be kicking off at the
Gotcha.
Husky Support Center and would be ending up here to connect those two events together to try to get people to visit those spots.
gotcha.
And is that the first weekend in September?
First Saturday.
First Saturday in September?
The conversations I had before were in August, but there's been some change.
Because we've been, a couple of years ago, Mr. Nolan had directed the first Saturday after the first day of school. So you have participation.
Mhm. So we're going to connect with, it'll be connected to Black and Orange, whichever day.
Okay.
I will say that when we originally started Black and Orange Day, it was 2 weeks before school started, so that everybody kind of gets in the mode about, we haven't seen everybody all summer, let's all, it's like a kickoff to school versus after they're already here. So that was the whole thinking behind it when it was started.
So that's when we started doing the back to school portion. And then Mr. Nolan had come and asked that we do the Black and Orange together with it.
Mhm.
And he was always had it after school had started because the participation was.
But I noticed that when, I think it was the last time, it's like, the school supplies weren't getting picked up because school had already started and people weren't taking them as.
We quit doing the school supplies because
Yeah.
we quit the school supplies because it was not used.
Yeah.
So,
Any other questions? Thank you for her hard work. I definitely enjoy having the buses behind my office now.
Right.
I looked out my window and went, hey.
I bet the high school likes having the parking lot there.
I guarantee that.
No, I bet. So moving forward, we're moving into 2.0 closed session. So 2.01, we need a motion.
A motion to reconvene in closed session for state statute 610-021 for the purpose of a discussion of personnel agenda items.
Second.
I heard 3. Got it. Okay, cool. Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Lonis?
Yes.
Mr. Garden?
Yes.
Ms. Clifford Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Bellbricker?
Definitely.
And I also